Post-transplant cyclophosphamide has really expanded in the last 5 to 10 years from being primarily used in haploidentical transplantation to being more generally used in mismatched unrelated donor transplantation and more recently in matched unrelated donor transplantation. If you think about it, we developed methotrexate based on studies that were done by Rainer Storb and Don Thomas in the 1970s. And that basic framework has persisted for the past 30 or 40 years. Cyclophosphamide was not used initially because it was thought to be more myelotoxic. But the cool thing about cyclophosphamide is that it is not stem cell toxic. That's why we can mobilize stem cells for autologous transplantation off of a dose of cyclophosphamide. So it has the benefit of being very immunosuppressive, but actually not stem cell toxic. So they can be given in a large dose after stem cell infusion without inhibiting hematopoiesis. So there's no real reason that one would particularly favor methotrexate over cyclophosphamide other than the fact that we've been using it for 30 or 40 years. But I think it's quite likely, and as demonstrated in the plenary session talk this afternoon, and in a a pick the winner phase 2 study done by the BMT-CTN, that it will be at least as good, if not better, than methotrexate when used in combination with a calcineurin inhibitor. The holy grail in this business, of course, is doing a transplant in the absence of graft-versus-host disease with restoration of normal functional immunity and maintenance of a graft-versus-leukemia effect. Whether we're actually ever going to be able to catch all of those components and really have the fabled chalice in our hands, I think is unknown. But that's where we're headed. The mortality from graft-versus-host disease has progressively declined. I think we have a bigger armamentarium to treat graft-versus-host disease. We have a bigger armamentarium to prevent graft-versus-host disease. And so while there's still a significant unmet need there, there's still people who die of graft-versus-host disease, that number is starting to decline. I think what we need to devote our attention to, and increasingly, is leukemic relapse. If you look at what's happened in transplantation over the past decade or 2 decades, transplant-related mortality has been progressively improving as we've gotten better at doing this. Leukemic relapse rates or lymphoma relapse rates have really not changed that much. And so what we really need to have going forward is a way of keeping the GVHD under control, but really targeting the leukemia to show that overall survival will substantially improve.